Let's talk about a game called Void Stranger for a minute. This is a game that hides a surprisingly vast and increasingly obscure lore dressed up as a simple puzzle game. I mean, there's a spoiler on screen right now, and you won't be able to see it if you don't know exactly what you're looking for. On the surface, Void Stranger is a repetitive game. The Void looks identical floor to floor for the most part, and you play a lot of the same or similar puzzles multiple times. But Void Stranger is very deliberate in how it uses repetition to convey its story, both narratively and emotionally. So let's talk about how you can use repetition to tell a story. Void Stranger is a game about pushing blocks and moving tiles to solve puzzles. Void Stranger is a game about finding secrets that were staring you in the face from the very beginning. Void Stranger is a game about being trapped. You play as Grey, a mysterious woman who has willingly entered a place called the Void. You can't get out the way you came. You can only go deeper. You know almost nothing about why Grey has come to the Void. Let's take a look at what's inside. The Void is filled with puzzles that have you pushing blocks and dodging enemies, as well as picking up and moving the floor tiles. This is Void Stranger's spin on the Sokoban genre. You start on floor 1, B001. It's underground after all. And you descend. The game doesn't tell you how deep, the 3-digit floor number being the only sense of scale you have. Floor after floor you delve deeper into the Void. The puzzles get harder, new twists are introduced, and Grey's backstory is revealed bit by bit as you go. You encounter other strangers in the Void, many looking for the way out. On your first journey, it's likely that you'll die, and it's likely that you'll die enough times to trigger a game over. No matter, you'll be offered a choice to give up or continue. You just have to eat a piece of food from the Void, and then you can carry on freely. The game throws fresh mechanics, lore drops, and fun ideas at you, so your first few hours of the game are exciting and varied considering how it's Sokoban puzzles all the way down. Not to mention incredible music that, if you've watched some of my other videos, you've probably heard before. But however deep you go, the Void looks the same. The layout of the floors may change, but every step of the way you're surrounded with a reminder that you are here, you are in the Void, and the Void just keeps going. Everything outside might as well not exist. In the movie Skinamarink, 2 kids are trapped alone in their house as the doors and windows have vanished, replaced with the familiar walls of their home. The world outside is completely inaccessible. For these kids, there's no way of knowing if the outside world even still exists, or if they'll ever see their parents' faces again. This movie could have been told as a straightforward narrative, watching these 2 kids as they come to terms with the reality of being trapped in their house, with no way of knowing how, when, or if things could go back to normal. It could have looked like any other film, with shots of the kids' expressions as they struggle through this new, impossible existence. A simple back and forth between them as they discuss the bizarre situation they're in, talking through their fears, arguing in a childlike manner about what to do. But that isn't what it looks like. Instead, it looks like this. Long, still shots of nothing but ambience and the threat of something in the darkness. Skinamarink is sensory deprivation horror. Not content with just showing you 2 kids trapped in a house, it wants to trap you with them. If you choose to watch Skinamarink, and be prepared for the long, quiet stretches if you do, you'll be staring into nothing, seeing nothing, hearing nothing. For a long, long time, nothing happens. Much like those kids trapped in that house with no idea when it will end, you are trapped watching almost nothing happen, feeling the endless monotony of being stuck in this house. And that monotony only makes it feel worse when the darkness finally yields, when something finally happens, and it's not something good. In the same way, although with more stimulation, Void Stranger makes you feel trapped in the void by never relenting on the environment around you. giving you very little information on how deep the void goes and what the outside world even looks like. You begin to feel it, the endlessness of Gray's task, the unknowable extent of the void. You feel it because you're playing it. You're in it. The floor counter continues to tick over. But of course, we know this is a video game, and though many games go on forever, they usually hit a kill screen eventually. So here's the point where I ask anyone that wants to play Void Stranger to just hop off and play it. Play it at least until you hear this. And see the section that follows it. Then we can continue our own journey through the void. Now hopefully, only the ones who know remain. So, you've passed hundreds of floors, solved hundreds of puzzles, and now you've found that the endless void is truly endless. The necessary end state that games have to hit just keeps going. Just after the game presents you with the climactic tragedy of Gray's backstory, the floors that follow contain increasingly unsolvable puzzles. Before you can even attempt to solve them, the game skips you forward, deeper into the void, again and again, until you aren't even sure how far you've gone. The floor number now is just question marks. Gray isn't even keeping track anymore. The floors break, shift, twist and melt, and forever and ever Gray descends the void until her mind fades away and you, the player, are left with a choice. The same choice you got when you died. Give up, or play on. Start all over again, from the beginning. And of course, we're here because we chose to try it all over again. Back through the void, still the same, even though quitting would have been no effort at all. Void Stranger is a game about pushing blocks and moving tiles to solve puzzles. Void Stranger is a game about finding secrets that were staring you in the face from the very beginning. Void Stranger is a game about determination. We know now why Gray has come to the void. We know why she's willing to go through its endless halls, why she's willing to go through them all over again. Some way, somehow, there must be a way for Gray to find what she's looking for. And yeah, I'm being intentionally vague here for the sake of people watching that decided they didn't want to play the game and might end up changing their minds. This isn't a story summary. All you need to know is somewhere in the void is something Gray cares about deeply. Something she didn't find on our first go around. So, on to the second. Starting once again from the very top and descending, Void Stranger is the inverse of another story about determination. In Undertale, we play as a human who has fallen down into the underground, a world populated by monsters. Throughout the game, we journey to return to the surface, encountering monsters along the way, and I can't believe I'm explaining the plot of Undertale in 2025, but there's probably a few watching who don't know, so we'll keep it brief. We have the option to fight these monsters, but in Undertale you can go through the whole game without killing anything. The fights become more like puzzles as you figure out the right sequence of actions to take in order to de-escalate the combat and continue your pacifist journey. One of the early fights in the game is with Toriel, a character who saves you from danger at the very beginning, and starts to take on a motherly role towards you. She refuses to let you journey out further into the underground, fearful for your safety. She initiates a fight, and it seems like nothing you do will allow you to move on without killing her. But this isn't true. You just need to persist. Over and over, if you insist on not hurting her, she will eventually relent, letting you go peacefully. You just have to be determined enough to not fight back. Undertale's journey is varied and interesting. You travel through creative environments with bespoke, fun encounters. The gameplay shifts genres and every character has their own unique personality. It's anything but repetitive. Well, maybe this example doesn't work for the point I'm trying to make then. I should probably just remove it. Oh well, back to Void Stranger. So, both us and Grey are determined to find the right way through the void. We go through once more, and this time, if you game over, you restart, not eating the fruit, not becoming voided. If you fail again, you start again, getting deeper each time, discovering secrets and tricks along the way, and noticing more than a few things that seem strange, but you can't quite figure out just yet. You go until you've made it to the last possible floor unvoided. And now's your chance to hop off again if you want to see this bit for yourself. Okay, so we've reached the bottom the right way, and now Grey is rewarded, and I'll still keep that vague, but she's offered what she came for as her reward. But the game keeps going. New puzzles, more story, a whole new section where floor by floor things are finally different. And there's even more after that, until eventually you reach an ending. Great, we're done with the void. We got what we came for and then some. Grey's journey is over. Her determination has reaped its rewards. There's another side to Undertale, of course. If there's a pacifist route, then naturally there's a not pacifist route. You can kill Toriel. You can kill the monsters in your way instead of sparing them. It's actually extremely easy. The pacifist encounters are the harder way to play. It doesn't take much determination to go through most of this route, which makes it not super relevant to the point I'm trying to make. But that's okay, because you can take it even further than that. If you go through the game killing the occasional enemy whenever you need to, that means you've done the neutral route. If you go through the game killing every enemy, whether or not you need to, that's the no mercy route. That's the polar opposite of the pacifist route. Like I said, killing the enemies is easy for the most part. They go down no problem, so if you go through the game killing everything, you'll fly through. But the no mercy route requires you to kill everything, even the monsters you never need to encounter. Like in Final Fantasy or Pokemon, you face enemies in random encounters. However, in those games, you can go back and forth fighting monsters, and they'll just keep coming forever. In Undertale, if you kill a monster in a random encounter, it's removed from the population. Keep doing that over and over, and monsters will stop appearing altogether. To do the no mercy route, you have to grind out enemy encounters, killing every single one until there's no more left. You've made them extinct. The fights are easy, yes, but grinding them over and over isn't fun. It's not meant to be fun. The no mercy run takes the fun out of the encounters and removes most of the story from the game, as the monsters of the underground go into hiding, leaving behind ghost towns. This means the only obstacle in your way during the no mercy route is yourself. It's how badly you want to see it through. If it's not fun, the only way you'll see what happens is if you're determined to see it. And after the monotony of traveling through an empty world so that you yourself can empty it one person at a time, you're met with the final test of that determination. The infamous final fight with Sans. Brutal in its difficulty, and the game's way of saying, are you absolutely sure this is what you want? This level of determination is what Grey has as she once again goes deeper into the void. The good enough ending wasn't good enough. There's more to this void. We are hellbent on finding out what lies even further beneath the surface that we've already looked further beneath. The secrets we've already found, the mysteries we've had hints about, and the strange, unexplainable things we've encountered. Now is the time to look closer. Whether it's the insatiable urge to understand the true nature of the void, or the need to find and punish whoever's responsible for it, it's now the void itself that's motivating our journey. To us, it has become something else. Void Stranger is a game about pushing blocks and moving tiles to solve puzzles. Void Stranger is a game about finding secrets that were staring you in the face from the very beginning. Void Stranger is a game about obsession. Strange symbols adorn the halls of the void. The people you meet impart secrets, refusing to share how they know what they know. If you continue in your journey, it won't take long until you realize you're going to need to pick up a pen and paper and start writing stuff down. Honestly, if you're like me, you might wish you started note-taking the second you saw that first mysterious brand on the wall. As seemingly irrelevant details turn out to be massive hints for later puzzles, your notes will expand. You'll start writing down anything and everything that even resembles a clue. You'll be turning over every nook and cranny of the void until you're buried in information. Grey hits dead ends over and over again. She begins to look for anything, even the slightest crack in the facade that might open up into the next path forward. The only way through is to see everything, learn everything, try everything. Notes piled high, crossing into each other, overlapping and looping endlessly, branching out again and again. Johnny Truant is a man who finds a manuscript written by his deceased neighbour. Zampano is a man with mysterious, intimate knowledge of a documentary film that doesn't exist. He's written in great detail about what he's seen, and even though he's blind, he seems to have seen a lot. Will Navidson is a photographer who bought a house that contains an impossible space that seems to be growing ever more impossible. House of Leaves is a layered book telling the story of these three men. We read the story of Navidson's house through the words of Zampano's manuscript, interpreted and commented on by Truant, edited by Truant's editor, and, if you haven't read it for yourself, described in brief here by me. Those three major characters all find themselves obsessed with that house. Through his long, meandering footnotes, we learn how Truant let the manuscript seep into his daily life, leak into every moment, even becoming the lens he views his whole life, present and past, through. His mental state deteriorating as he just can't pull himself away from this manuscript on a film he knows doesn't even exist. One layer deeper into the manuscript itself, both the implied story of whatever happened to Zampano and the actual story of Navidson's house is where House of Leaves really starts to become relevant to the void. Zampano writes about Navidson's exploration of the strange space that's appeared in his home. First, an extra quarter-inch on the inside of the house, then a door that wasn't always there, then an everything that wasn't always there. The extra quarter-inch confounds Navidson. Then it obsesses him. He brings in all the equipment and manpower he can to try and explain it, but no one could reasonably say anything other than, your house is an extra quarter-inch bigger on the inside. And that actual, measurably small anomaly might just be the reason why Navidson's obsession grows so dangerously large. Because it started small, so reasonable, and then bit by bit introduced just one more mystery to Navidson. The mystery's creeping upwards in size until the endless void within the house opens up. And it's too late. Navidson can't turn off the obsession now. So down he goes, into the void. He brings a team of men and as much equipment as made sense to bring, maybe even more, so he can scour the house and unravel its endless secrets. And something happens to House of Leaves while he does this. Up one layer, Zampano's writing has started to get strange. The words on the page have started to shift to reflect what's going on in the house. I won't spoil much. It's a really interesting read, and these moments are fun and surprising when they happen. so let's just use the example of the window. During the journey through the void of the house, one of the explorers manages to break a hole in the wall, only to reveal more void and more house. This strange, endless space visible through the hole. On that same page, a strange window appears, a square outline in the middle of the page with writing of its own inside, that now the words on the page have to go around. This window goes on for multiple pages, front and back. Written inside is a footnote featuring a long list of household fixtures that aren't in the void of the house. Sockets, valves, HVAC, hundreds of things are listed in this small square space. This serves as a reflection of the endless nothingness within the house, and how that endlessness has wormed its way into Zampano, the one writing the footnote. There are multiple similar footnotes in House of Leaves. You don't have to read them, but you could. This chapter with the window actually reflects the house in an even more obvious and ingenious way, but I'll leave that for you to discover. As House of Leaves has you bouncing back and forth between footnotes, turning the book upside down, reading words in strange shapes, it makes you feel the gnawing obsession. The simple concept of a house twisting and warping as you dive deeper and deeper. It makes you put in the work, gives you a window into the obsession of these men. And you aren't going to make it much further into Void Stranger until you share Grey's obsession with uncovering the void. Secret by secret, the void pulls you in, knowing there's always more. Secrets lead to shortcuts, secrets lead to answers, secrets lead to secrets. Following every lead, you learn everything. Each time you need to start anew, you're a little faster. You found quicker ways to solve the puzzles, perhaps ways to bypass them entirely. By this point, as you approach the end of Void Stranger's mysteries, you'll be flying through floors where you once walked slowly and methodically. The puzzle's now trivial. You'll get where you want to be in no time at all. The void is yours. Void Stranger is a game about pushing blocks and moving tiles to solve puzzles. Void Stranger is a game about finding secrets that were staring you in the face from the very beginning. Void Stranger is a game about mastery. In the late game of Void Stranger, the puzzles stop feeling like puzzles. With every trick you have at your disposal, and the benefit of experience traversing the void, the game becomes a speedrun. There's no sense of time in Void Stranger. We don't know how long we've spent exploring the void, but it's safe to assume it's been a very, very long time. We found every secret, learned every threat, completely dominated the space. By the end, you should be feeling like a master of the void, and I can only imagine that's how Grey feels too. By now, Void Stranger feels more in common with speedrun games like Neon White, or perhaps roguelikes like Hades, or time loops like Outer Wilds. A character who takes on the same task over and over and over until they've mastered it, and us along with them. With the void scoured and its secrets unearthed, you as the player are as aligned with Grey as you'll ever be. We've reached the peak. Does it feel like we'd hoped? Does it feel hollow? Void Stranger is a game about pushing blocks and moving tiles to solve puzzles. Void Stranger is a game about finding secrets that were staring you in the face from the very beginning. Void Stranger is a game about reaching the bottom. Over and over in Void Stranger it feels like we've reached the end, when actually we've just reached an end. Like waking up to find that you're actually still dreaming. The void is still going. That's the thing about dreaming. Sometimes it feels like you've woken up and left the dream. Even if you haven't. If you haven't given up the first few times you reach the bottom, then surely you never will. Grey continues. Oh wait, haven't we reached mastery already? Why are we still talking about reaching the bottom? Aren't we near the end? Void Stranger is a game about pushing blocks and moving tiles to solve puzzles. Void Stranger is a game about finding secrets that were staring you in the face from the very beginning. Void Stranger is a game about confusion. We've already checked this floor. Why did we want to come back here? Why were we so sure there was something else? Void Stranger is a game about pushing blocks and moving tiles. Void Stranger is a game about finding secrets. Void Stranger is a game about belief. In what? Void Stranger is a game about despondence. Void Stranger is a game about letting go. Void Stranger is a game about trying again. Void Stranger is a game about giving up. Giving everything. Void Stranger is a game about nothing. Void Stranger is a game, and as a game, it's able to put you in the place of a character in a way no other form of media can. A film can make you sit through long, quiet stretches. A book can be purposefully difficult to read. But a game can make you act. It's a form of immersion almost entirely unique to video games. Imagine a film where you have to get up out of your seat and pull the trigger on the villain yourself. Or decide not to. Not only are you able to step into the shoes of a character and do what they do, a game can make it so you have to embody the character if you want to continue. You don't get to reach the end of Void Stranger until you have gone on Gray's journey. This isn't something every game does. Military shooters kind of need to make killing fun, and management games need to cut out the majority of the admin work to attract an audience. But there are games that harmonize the player and the playable character. And sometimes to do that, you need to make the player do something they might never have considered fun. I know not everyone will enjoy repeating the same puzzles over and over. Not everyone enjoyed the sensory deprivation of Skinamarink. Not everyone enjoyed the hostility of reading House of Leaves or the brutal emptiness of Undertale's No Mercy run. But if you're willing to go through it, to put the effort into the void, you'll experience Gray's story in a way no other medium can pull off. No other medium can bring you closer to a character's journey. Void Stranger is a game made by people. They spent years on it, as is the case with every other piece of media I've discussed here. With any creative project, there's always going to be the fear that people will reject it. So it takes an incredible amount of courage, confidence, and dedication to your own art to make a creative decision that you know will turn people off. And I know that's an assumption, but I think the creators of Void Stranger likely knew people would be turned off by the repetition, and some are. But they did it anyway, because they knew that's the way to bring the void to life, to let us into Gray's journey. This is a video about mechanical storytelling, so I've kept the story details extremely light, because I'm talking now to the person who's still on the fence about playing the game. We're at the end of my case for it now. You know what you're getting yourself into. Go ahead. Make a decision.